I can tell you honestly, today's environment is 100 times better. The bottom line is this time, the sellers are actually going to be more in control.
I guess just to kind of get things started off for, you and I, we talked last night. I got a little bit of background on you guys. Could you just tell us a little bit about where you're located and how long you've been in real estate?
I can do that.
Absolutely. Part. Yeah, go ahead.
So we are located in Fresno, California. And if you're not familiar with where that is in California, if you were like to take your finger and stick it right in the middle of the state, that would be where we're located. We're in the San Joaquin Valley. So we're about 3 hours south of the San Francisco Bay Area, the Silicon Valley. We're about 3.5 to 4 hours north of Los Angeles, and 2 hours directly from the coast. So like we are smack in the middle. One of the still more affordable, reasonable pockets in the state of California is where we're located. And Bryan and I have been doing this for approaching 20 years now, and we specialize in an area called Clovis Unified School District. Fresno, Clovis are two cities, kind of like a Dallas-Fort Worth, that have grown together over time. And so there are boundaries within the city of Fresno that are part of Clovis Unified. But it's an award-winning school district. It's been the focus of our sales. We do sell all over the Central Valley, don't get us wrong, but that's been kind of our primary focus, over the last couple of decades now. Bryan, you want to add to that?
Just to be completely accurate and transparent, since 2004 we've been in business. And if you look us up online, it's the Souza Group. Recently, we moved a couple years ago to eXp Realty, and we were with Remax for a long, long time prior to that. We have personally sold 650 plus homes, about $165 million of real estate, and our love is actually helping people reach their family dreams, and actually helping new agents and any agents reach their real estate dreams as well. So we love mentoring. We love reaching out to agents, and hopefully in today's call, we can actually just kind of share as much value as we can on how agents can thrive in today's market. Having been through this, bell curve before, the riding the roller coaster of the Great Recession, I can tell you that there's a lot of opportunity here for agents to really grow their business and not slow their business.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I guess just kind of tell me about, going through the recession in 2009 and previous. What was that like for you then? And what did you learn from that to kind of for this uncertainty now?
So the bottom line with real estate is it's a people business. It's a people business. So even in 2009, one of the things that I had to do was I was authorized by Bank of America to be the guy that knocks on the door and say, hey, you haven't paid your bills in a year.
That's a fun.
And bank's going to give you $5,000 for cash for keys, and you need to vacate the property with a guaranteed short sale. And people thought that was end times, because we had real estate signs on every neighborhood. There were dozens and dozens of signs in every neighborhood. You drive down the street and you would see just foreclosures and short sales nonstop. Having gone through all that, I can tell you honestly, today's environment is 100 times better. The bottom line is this time, the sellers are actually going to be more in control than the buyers. The buyers are in control back then. It has to do with inventory. And as we know, 6 months or more inventory on supply equals a buyer's market. And back then we had 18 months of supply. I mean, we had so much supply that it was a buyer's market. Today, in our local metro and actually nationwide, we're looking at 2 to 3 months of inventory. And so it's more of a seller's market. Colleen, what would you like to add to that?
I'm going to jump in there, to add to that, when you said, how did we survive that and how is it going now? One of the reasons that we grew so successfully out of that experience really has a lot to do with the fact of our approach to real estate. And that's another message that we have for everybody today. Yep. And one of the reasons that we see this shift, and though this shift, honestly, I see being a lot more temporary than the Great Recession. And that is, it's about people. And Bryan mentioned that before. This is really a people-oriented business. And One of the things that, Bryan's always said is that he's grown the business. And I have to admit, he did this for a few years before I left the education world, where I was a teacher for quite a while here locally, and was working in the background, and finally went, hey, I like what you're doing, and jumped on board with the real estate company. But supporting him, one of the things from the very, very beginning was that we understood that if you grow your business like a farmer, okay, and that's always been one of Bryan's phrases, you become a 10-year overnight success kind of an idea. And that's just that what we used in that time was that people were in need. And if we just loved on them, if we took care of them, if we built relationships, if we didn't try to hurry everything, but one at a time, we just took care of the people that came into our world, into our business, into our life. We called all of our clients our real estate family, and we really do feel that way. And so they became a part of the family. And what we did was we helped them through their circumstances, and then they shared with other people, hey, you want someone that cares? Call the Souzas. And so what that did over time was cultivate a relationship-based business. And so that's how coming through the Great Recession and through all the housing crisis in the 08 and all of that era, and working with people that were in serious needs, that we were able to develop a reputation that has outlived that era and has carried us into a very successful business coming away from that. And we were one of the most successful real estate groups in town during that era, simply because what we did was we took care of people and we built that relationship. And here's
Absolutely.
and Bryan was talking about the shift in market. And as we talk about this, so many of those people are now back in the market because they have had their 7 or 9 year hiatus from that experience where they lost their home, where their credit was destroyed, where they had to file bankruptcy, where they had to do a foreclosure. And now they're re-entering the market. And that's part of the positive of this. And as they do, they're coming back to those relationships that they had with us before. So it's the short, not having the short game. It's paying attention to what's the long-term value of the relationships you build. So I think that that's a parallel between the two of them too.
Right. I think that it sounds like, one of the things that we're trying to tell people, and I know this is a conversation Joe and I had, is we're trying to tell people, you got to keep moving, you got to keep working and keep those relationships.
Yep, absolutely. So so let's give some ideas that we can actually help some agents.
Our first major things. Yeah. Go ahead, Bryan.
All right. So ways to help agents. So first of all, knowing that real estate is a relationship-based business, what you want to do is reach out to everyone you know. Absolutely everyone you know in your sphere, in your database, in your real estate family. And here's how the phone call goes. How are you? And you listen. And you just listen, and you basically help them any way you can. I know that you can send an Uber Eats to somebody's home. That's no problem. I know that you can deliver with Clorox wipes. You can actually do a door knock and deliver toilet paper to people's homes. All of those things that you can do.
And I'm going to jump in there. Really, just to continue to add to that. Do you have clients in your database that are elderly? I mean, my own mom is almost 80 years old, and it's actually recovering from a major back surgery. And it's made me heightenedly aware of the fact that, I'm not letting her leave the house. I just want her to stay safe. Already she's got other things going on, and I just simply don't want her to fight for toilet paper at Save Mart or one of our
right
now. So I'm like, Mom, I'm doing your shopping for you. Who do you have in your database that is either in those categories that might be at risk? Someone that's fighting illness, recovering from cancer. I mean, somebody that's going through chemotherapy or cancer treatment does not want to get out and get exposed to anything, the common cold, much less the coronavirus. How can you serve them and help them? How can you deliver this stuff to their doorstep? Do you have someone in your database who also cares for an elderly parent, and so you can volunteer to take a little load off by you go do the grocery shopping for them, or go run those errands, get gas in their car, for heaven's sakes. Let me take your car over and get gas in it for you. Whatever you can do that would serve people, that adds to that, because one, it makes you feel like you're giving back. It's part of being in a community, but it does help you develop a reputation for being somebody that will go out and take care. So it's just a really positive thing that you can do that goes along with the how are you.
And in California, we had a governor today actually made a state of emergency, and we're at stay-at-home lockdown. Here's what I want agents to do. If you haven't done so already, rather than scrolling through social media, start embracing social media. Send private messages to all of your clients. Send private messages to everyone you know. Chat away, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, have conversations. Everybody has access to these things, and everybody's home, and everybody's more available than they've ever been because they're working from home.
Add to that, not just chatting, but post positive quotes. One of the things Bryan posted the other day too, because we have a private group that's just our real estate family. That's people that are always a part of our business. We have a larger business page, and of course we have our private pages. But as we were driving around our community, because our own city hit that shelter in place a couple days ago, and now the state of California is over all the shelter in place. But we're noticing in little city parks and in front yards, we're driving around dealing with our properties, we're seeing families, a dad playing baseball who obviously has not been out playing baseball in a few years, at its best shot with his kiddo. And he commented on the positive things he was seeing out of the circumstances, whether it's a quote you post or a quick video or something. Right now, people want encouraging words, or encouraging words might begin to affect their daily. How can you change someone's day for the positive? So post away, do live videos, have some fun. What do you see happening that is positive? And make sure you do that.
Yeah, and absolutely learn how algorithms work. You can Google it. It takes about 10 seconds. Learn how Facebook algorithms work. So Facebook Live, Instagram, TV Live, they're going to have a higher reach than just posting a simple meme or an image. Learn about that, because you've got time right now to do that, and use it to your advantage so that your voice can be heard as the expert in the area, and the people that know you, love you, appreciate you, and trust you will continue to do that as they have the real estate needs, because people are going to still need shelter, right? Food, clothing, and shelter. We are one of the top 3 things that people need.
Yeah. And here's another thing too. This is a great time. This is stepping away from social media. I think a lot of you guys probably have come up with some great ideas. Having fun being the foremost right now, because people need to see some fun. Laugh when nobody else is, and it'll might make them laugh. But take time to invest in yourself, which will help you laugh. Okay. Because that's another very important point. I know my big excuse all the time. Bryan and I have lots of great ideas. Okay. We're like, oh, we should try this. Hey, I heard this. Hey, this would really be good for the business. Hey, this is a fun thing. And then we're like, yeah, but we never get to it because we're so busy selling homes and meeting with clients and doing the things we do. And honestly, this is a great week or 2 or 3, maybe 4. I don't know what the circumstances are going to be, but this is a great time where you have a little more time in your schedule to go online and take some of those classes that you've seen that might help you in being a better social media expert in depending on what company. I know with the EXP we're with, there's just tons of training that's always available, often live, but even if not live, it's always recorded for us. And I will hear that, hey, there was this great class, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I should listen to that. No, I should listen to that. I have time now. I should stop. I should take some time to develop myself, feel excited about what I do again, become better at what I do, because that's going to reflect in the attitude I have when I'm working with clients, when I'm posting on social media. So really collaborate with people, find people across the country. There's so many places you can go to be knowledge about the market, about what's going on, how it's affecting real estate, how you can be better at what you do. And this is a great time to pause and invest in ourselves.
And here's another idea for just a simple Facebook Live. Small businesses are hurting right now, okay? So the businesses that you go to, support them by doing a Facebook Live. We did a Facebook Live with a Mediterranean restaurant that we absolutely love. And we just interviewed the owner, and he said, hey, I've been doing this for 20 years. And we said, you know what we're going to do for this interview here. So I thank you for your interview. You can do Uber Eats, you can do Grubhub, you can take any kind of delivery from your restaurant still. He goes, yes, absolutely can. Fantastic. What we're going to do is, in a real estate family, anybody that orders from you, we're going to go ahead and give away a gift card to your restaurant. He was blown away by that, super appreciative. But you could do that same thing with a hair place. Colleen was at a hair place yesterday. And how many people were in the hair cutting, or what do you call it, stylist place?
There was yesterday, because I think everyone knew that the axe was going to fall and that wasn't going to be considered a necessity anymore. So all of us vain people ran out and took care of our business. But the place was packed because everyone knew that this might be the end of this week might be a time where things were going to get shut down around here. But those people, my hairdresser, I talked with her. She's going to be not making money for the next couple weeks. If they shut things down, that's a loss of income for her family. And so anything that I could do to help support that would be huge. So that's really important. So there's some things. Anything you guys want to add or questions you have to ask?
Well, I want to chime in here. I am really impressed with what you guys are doing and your mindset. I know it can be a fluff piece, get your mindset right, but what's in our head affects how we act and react. And all the things that you're saying are not just something that I believe should be done in business, but something that I hold really dear to myself, as well as looking at how can one serve their community, the people in their lives, their clients, and out of that is birthed this success that has so much stability versus just going out there and pounding the pavement for the short win. And I think what we're going to see now, we're going to see agents who don't have that mindset either change and adapt or fall by the wayside. And it's going to leave opportunities for the agents who step up to the plate and say, I could roll over and do nothing, or I could learn, adapt, and I could take advantage of this opportunity and not lose my business, not lose everything I've worked so hard for. And the big takeaways I hear from what both of you are saying, I can tell you're excited about it because there's so much in there. I think we just cracked the surface. But the number one thing I hear, be personal, care for people. I love that opening, and that's usually what I tell most agents. Ask them how they're doing, shut up. Listen, understand, and then you'll have so much momentum to be understood. But I hear being personal, care for people, ask them how they're doing. That kind of fits in the same number one rule. How you can do that, use the tools we have today. Facebook Live is great because it shows authenticity. It's not a post or a professional video. We have online tools. We're more connected than ever. So don't get rid of your tools. Use your tools that you have. Make a phone call. Ask them how they're doing. That's the second thing I heard. Third thing I was thinking, you can still mail people things as well. You could mail them a card. I love personal written cards. I mean, if I get a personally written card, I actually have a board right here in my office that has pretty much all the personal cards I've gotten written to me. And I read them, and it makes me feel good. So I'm thinking you could mail someone a card, and then you could drop by a roll of toilet paper. I don't have one on my desk. You could say it's that. Here's what it comes down to in my book. It's not the thought that counts. It's the thoughtful thought that counts, right?
That's excellent, yeah.
Toilet paper has very little value, before that than now, but the fact if you showed up with someone's door with Clorox wipes, toilet paper or something, I see so many opportunities now. I feel like you were just expressing, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But we all have a limited time in the day. I think this is a great opportunity to start clearing off that backlog of things that I wanted to do.
Absolutely. And I think, not only the clients that you're working with or have worked with, but getting the message out to buyers that you're working with as well. One of the things that buyers may or may not know is that, yes, you can still show homes.
Yeah, well,
yes,
Bryan,
Colleen, talk a little bit about what you did as a workaround.
I want to piggyback on what he said real quick, just before we totally shift to the buyers thing. And I do want to share my story that we love to share with all the team, and that we do a lot of training. We're mentors for our company, so we train a lot of agents. And but by the way, even though we've been doing this for a long time and we've been very successful and we train agents all the time, we go to trainings, by the way. And I was sitting in a training about 6 months to a year ago, listening to folks that have sold like 3 times as many houses as we've ever sold. So, they know what they're doing, and I'm learning from them. And they reminded me of the personal notes that you just mentioned that, Bryan and I are really big on it. I write a personal note, but I sat there and I thought, when's the last time that I just sat down and wrote notes to people? So it was a discipline. Here in the Central Valley, it can be 110 in the summer, and I'm not joking. That is not an exaggeration. It was one of those hot summer days, and I just thought, fine, I do not want to go outside and be showing homes today anyways. So for like a week, I sat and I wrote over 100 personal notes to our client database, people that were part of our family. I threw a few cards in there, reminded them that we loved working with them and that we love them. And one way that they could boost our business and be a part of our life this year was to hand a couple of these cards out. Who do you know that might want them? And literally within a week, 2 weeks, we had
2 weeks at most.
Seven new transactions going on from that. Now, I didn't write those cards with that being the only specific goal in mind, but the bottom line was I checked in, people got the note, I told them that I loved them, I gave them the cards, and they say, hey, you know what, my brother, oh, my neighbor, hey, you know, and before you knew it, we had 7 new deals that came out of just taking the time to write the notes. So I did want to piggyback on that. One, it makes people feel cared for at a time that they're stressed, which is going on right now. But the other thing is it does pay off. I mean, it cost me the time and the cards and the stamps. And so it couldn't have been more successful for me. So I just wanted to you know, add a kudos to the note writing. So we were talking about buyers, and that's the biggest thing, making sure you're still available. The reason I'm out in the car is that I am going through all of our properties that are available, and I am doing Facebook Lives. And I am making sure people know, hey, this home is available for you to see. You know, make an appointment. We can take one family through this home at a time. And if you didn't get to see it, because we are cutting our open houses based on our new state mandate. So obviously I can't open the doors and let people walk through it freely, but I can freely make sure they feel like they've walked through it virtually, and then really encourage them that if this looks to be a fit for them, to get their realtor or give me a call and we'll get them in the property so that they can still see it. I had that call, a text come in this morning on my way here. I have a showing set up for noon my time today. And are we still allowed to see that property? Absolutely, you're allowed to see that property. I have it confirmed with the seller, and I look forward to walking you through that home. So it is like Bryan said, letting people know.
So let's talk about some of the tech that all the agents have available right now that they can use. They have FaceTime. Right. So if you have the iPhone to iPhone, you can do a FaceTime tour. We have sold homes to people that we've never met physically. We've listed and sold on the buyer side and the listing side using FaceTime. So if you haven't done that before, agents, get used to just hitting that FaceTime button. FaceTime people. They love to see your face. They love to see the properties. Colleen wrote an offer up 2 days ago using that technology. If you don't have an iPhone, use Zoom that we're using right now. The Zoom technology is zoom.com. Use Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts as an app. You can use that Google Hangouts. Use Facebook Messenger. You can actually call somebody on Facebook Messenger, and you can actually use video with Facebook Messenger. If you don't have any of that and you've got a phone that actually records video, record a 10-second video of the property, text it to them, email it to them.
I'm going to throw it in there. The house I sold the other day started with me walking through it, doing 10 maybe 8 to 10 little 10-second videos. Yep. And I would shoot them off and I'd say, okay, well, we're walking into the living room. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is the exact kind of structure that you wanted. And I sent them the 10 little videos in a group text. And then it was, can we FaceTime you? And then we walked through, and then it was, yes, let's put in the offer. So it's because I know my clients and I knew what they were looking for. And I just started with quick little videos so that they weren't, at the time, totally disrupted at work. So yeah, that's a good way to do it.
And take a note from the kids, because we learn a lot from kids. We've got a 27-year-old, a 24-year-old, and a 14-year-old in our world. And Snapchat, I've watched the kids do, but Snapchat's very simple. You record a short little video. If you don't know how to do anything else, download the Snapchat app, learn how to use that, and get that out there, because a lot of people are using it. We didn't even know about that.
Yeah, so there's definitely that. And doing virtual home showings. Maybe you have somebody that really wants to see the home, but we've always done virtual home showings, like Bryan said, usually for folks that are at a distance, okay? But now
out-of-state buyers, yeah. Yep.
Out-of-state buyers, out-of-town buyers that want to come to town, want to see a home. They see one hit the market, and they're like, could you walk me through it? I think that's going to work for me. But use it for everybody. Because as people are concerned about exposing one another to things, well, then just use the technology. Walk them through. Take your time, and any form of a virtual tour will work. Also, use virtual tours to, if you have a listing, and we're going to talk about listings, use it to market. That's what I'm doing today. Not only am I'm out here doing, uploading some extra stuff to Zillow, but I am literally going to do, a virtual tour in a couple of different ways so that I can continue to repost it throughout the week, so that as people have time and sit down and look, they'll see our properties.
So agents for showing properties are some other techniques that you can use that we've done for a long, long time. They identify 3 or 4 properties. Hey, you want to go see these properties, right? So Google Maps, you can actually put the property address in Google Maps. There's a little icon of a person, there's a little orange little person. You can drop that person down to the neighborhood and you can view the neighborhood. How many times have agents driven to a home and they get out of the car and the buyer looks at the neighborhood about 10 seconds later, says, I don't want to buy this house. Yeah. You can save everybody that time using Google Maps. Be on the phone with them, be FaceTime with them, and talk them through the neighborhood. What are they looking at? What's around that home? What are the schools? What are the restaurants? What are the amenities in that area? Where are the freeway access? Where's the airport? All those things that are very, very important. And you can use technology right now. Google Maps is available on your computer. Drop the little person down and save yourself some time that way.
Well, and I'm going to add to that real quick is encourage them. They can't get out even in our shelter-in-place stuff in California. You can get out and be in your car. So that might be the outing. Maybe you can't walk through the houses, but if they've got 2 or 3 they're very interested in, encourage them to take a little drive in the car, see what the neighborhood looks like in person, just so they get a feel for it, and then to do so in the morning and do so at night so that they can say, yes, I like the way this feels.
Absolutely. Definitely. And another thing that buyers agents can do, buyers are concerned right now with interest rates and mortgage markets and all that. Partner with a loan officer and do a Zoom meeting like we're doing right now, that the loan officer can talk about the interest rates, can talk about what's going on in the bond market, can talk about how now is the best time ever for buyers to buy, and use that to market on your social media that you are the expert because you brought in an expert. Don't you talk about interest rates. Let the expert talk about interest rates. Let the lender talk about those things. Work with lenders who can meet clients virtually. I talked to a lender 2 days ago. 2 days ago is one of the top lenders in our area. And he has never done a virtual meeting like we're doing right now with any of his clients. He's trying Zoom, and he does on average about $100 million of real estate a year. So this is a top performing lender. Never met with people virtually, always likes to sit across the table. But to accommodate their wishes and needs, he's going to learn that technology so that he can actually take the application over the Zoom call or Google Hangouts or whatever technology they're using. And guess what? The buyers appreciate it because they don't have to drive to some office somewhere and sit down. A 30-minute meeting is truly a 30-minute meeting. And that lender is doing that. Watch some really good blogs like the National Real Estate Post, Frank and Bryan, Scott Groves, Ryan Hills, Josh Pitts, Michael Fisher. Those are all really good industry blogs that you should be watching and learning more about the industry on a regular basis.
Well, and I was gonna throw in there a little bit too. It kind of goes back to one of the things Bryan and I are constantly doing is wanting to produce content that's going to educate our clients, buyers or sellers. Now, just, to know a little bit about our business, we work together on everything. We co-list and we co-sell all things, where we have double agents on all things, but I do focus on our buyers, and Bryan does put his focus on our listings. And so a lot of times my biggest frustration is we want to grab any opportunity. I don't know about you, but if a good Zillow call comes in and the person has a decent phone conversation with me, of course I want to meet them at a property, because I want to, at least the way I look at it, it's not because I think I'm going to sell that property to them, but it's because I think I'm going to develop a relationship with them through that time. Yep. But as soon as I have made a connection and I have some kind of a personal rapport with that person, then comes the education part. Because if they're not familiar with the process, then it's going to be a futile issue for me as I go from home to home, and they don't want to make offers because they're just not confident. And yeah, they have a pre-approval letter, but what is their relationship with their lender, and how do they understand the process? So this is a great time to do little videos, whether you are getting a lender on board with you or you just create little how-to stuff for your buyers and shoot it out to them, whether you post it on social media or you make small things that you text to them or email to them. One of the ways to work with your buyers right now is not all of them are ready to buy, are they? A lot of them are in that 3 to 6 month period of preparing to buy a house, and the lull in the market isn't going to affect them, but you got to think always, okay? And it's never about just what business is going on right now, right? Otherwise we'll starve. It has to be the business that we're doing in 3 months, the business that we're doing in 6 months, what's in your pipeline, what's in the hopper. So this is a great time as you're working with your buyers who may be a little distance out Make some fun little educational videos. Make them just that seem personal, but just generic enough where you make the one on what's the process and why do you get pre-approved? You know, what's the escrow process look like? So if they feel like it's going just to them, but really what you're doing is creating one and you're sending it out to all the potential buyers you have. Great time to educate buyers.
Yeah, we kind of have an unfair advantage with EXP because we have a live meeting that we do in our virtual world because we have a virtual cloud office. And so we were talking with about 120 top agents in every metro in the United States. What are they doing with this environment? And one of the questions that came up was, hey, in our state, they're actually closing down the county recorder's office. What should we do? Well, here's the solution. Buyers need to find out if your escrow company is open, still for business, number one. Number two, can they actually still close whether or not the county recorder's office is open? That's called gap insurance. Then there are several escrow companies that do that. Do a Facebook Live with an escrow officer you love working with. Let your public know, let your buyers know that, yeah, we can still close. And when the county recorder offices open back up, we can record on that property. So here's the bottom line with the information needs to go out with your buyers and sellers too, that housing is not the problem to this recession that we're going to be experiencing. Housing is going to be the solution this time. Housing is going to be the solution.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and what you guys are talking about with the FaceTime thing, my 5-year-old knows how to get the phone out and do FaceTime with his grandparents. Right? It's not new technology. It's not difficult.
2007.
Yeah, definitely. It's absolutely easy as, and even now as we're doing this, Bryan and I talk about it all the time. This is the kind of stuff we mean to incorporate more often. We just get busy and then we don't do it. So it's just important. Yeah. It's good habits for us to get into too.
Right. Joe, I don't know if you wanted to piggyback on anything or ask any questions based on what we were just talking about, or we can move into some of these other questions.
I just want to reiterate a lot of things you guys said are dead on. And it's, I see people say a lot of times when they hear things like we just talked about today, I know, Joe, I should do that. And then it's a year from now, I should do that. And they're struggling. I should do that. Then it goes to, I need to do that. And then I don't think I can do that anymore. I don't think that's the mindset we need. We need to just start. I know video is intimidating for a lot of people. People say, I don't like to hear my voice. I don't like to see my face. Well, guess what? That God-given, beautiful face, everybody's been seeing for a very long time and hearing your voice.
Yeah, exactly. That's my hang up all the time.
Colleen, I'm with you. I just went to the hair salon, got my hair done, got my hair did.
By the way, it looks great.
And the axe literally came down and cut it all off. But my point with video is we just got to do it. And the magic thing about video, I do public speaking coaching, and the magic thing is doing it, and the second thing is watching yourself do it. That's why I love video, right? Because we become aware of what we do that may be distracting and what we do that really gets our message home. And by just doing that and seeing ourselves do it, we adapt and change naturally. So that's the biggest message. I mean, I talk to so many agents who love the ideas you're sharing, and I'm on the same bandwagon. I felt like you pulled out what was in my head, and it's just, you got to do it. And so I don't know, what's your magic trick to get agents to take action?
I wish we had more magic tricks than we do, but I think it's just to encourage them and come alongside them. I mean, that's a big part of it. I think that, I don't know, Bryan, what's our magic trick? You help me here. To just provide tools and provide encouragement and provide opportunity. I think that's the bigger thing. We train a lot of agents, and we come alongside them a lot. We have to be honest. Those in EXP that we work with we're mentors to, we just come alongside them because they get overwhelmed. I think anybody that gets overwhelmed sort of just ceases to, you just get frozen sometimes. And so, and that's another reason that I think this kind of a lull in the market is going to be good for me as an agent, because I get overwhelmed. I mean, I understand the technology, I understand the video, I understand using it all. We do use it consistently, but then I get overwhelmed by my busyness, and I don't, engage it the way I should. So
here's my response to that. I don't think there's any magic. I think it's just being authentic. And at the end of the day, your authenticity means more to people. I think agents are so worried about perfection, right? They're worried about perfection, and they're worried about doing everything absolutely right, rather than that causes them to be stymied and do nothing at all. And so I was actually having this conversation with a lender, worried about having the professional charts, worried about making sure that you're dressed just perfect, making sure that your hair is perfect. All those things, people don't care. What people care about is you being authentic, you taking care of them, you being an expert, obviously, in your field, being knowledgeable. They do care a lot about that, so they can trust you. But you being authentic is way more important than how your hair looks, how you're dressed, and all those things. And just like you were just saying, get out there and start. Get out there and just do it. At the end of the day, it's about being available for people. And I think availability right now with technology is unprecedented. This is a huge, huge, huge opportunity for agents to communicate to people, because most of the time they say, I can't get a hold of people. They don't answer my phone. They don't answer the text. People are all answering all those things because all they're doing right now is sitting at home. Most of the people are sitting at home right now. They're available. So reach out to them immediately. I want to talk a little bit about tips for agents working with sellers before we go here. So we have put 3 houses on the market this week, and we have to, because we're on stay at home, shelter in place. We had to modify our open houses. So what are we doing in our market to comply with that? Number 1, we put a little note over the restroom toilet that says, please do not use the toilet. Now, a lot of times over the years, if people need to use the toilet, that's fine. Go ahead and use the toilet. But in today's environment, no, you cannot use the restroom. No, use the toilet. No more than 5 people at a time enter open house. Last open house, we had 60 people in the open house before we had the lockdown. And so what we're going to do with that is we're going to pace people apart, keeping, what's the word? Social
distancing.
Social distancing. That's right. Social distancing. We're going to keep them at least 6 feet apart of each other in a nice line outside. As they go in, we're not going to let more than 5 bodies in the home at a time, so they can look around the property. We're going to ask adults to hold the children's hands. So as they're walking through, the children can't run freely and just kind of slime over and touch everything. They need to hold the children's hands as they walk through the property. We're going to ask them to limit the touching of surfaces, okay? We'll have most of the doors open for people already, and all the lights will be on. So limiting the touching of surfaces is going to be really important to comply as well. And then make yourself available to show the home. This is going to mean that agents are going to have to work harder, because you can show virtually, like Colleen was just saying, using FaceTime, but being present to show and monitor all activities. Colleen, talk about your showing today at noon.
Excuse me. Yeah, today at noon I'm showing a property, and I have the other. I mean, it's not my client, but the other agent is bringing a client. But I assured our sellers, I will be present at every showing. It's going to be a little more work for me, but it gives my sellers the assurance that, people are being monitored in their home, or that if something happens, I'll be able to report that to them. As far as, I'm sorry, I'm going to let you know the person that came through never stopped sneezing. You might want to, go buy a case of Clorox wipes, whatever the situation is, and then reassuring them to clean the house up afterwards. But what we're also doing is we have, I'm going to call it a modified open house on the different open houses, because our son works on our team too. He's going to, each one of us is going to be at one of the houses this weekend, and we've made ourselves available because we do our Saturday open houses 11 to 2, Sunday 1 to 4. We're making ourselves available in front of those houses during that time frame, so that we can walk families through one at a time. And when there is a family living in the house, we're going to be extraordinarily specific with one family at a time in the house. And when those showings happen, we happen to have 2 vacant properties that hit the market. Oh, did I lose everybody? I'm back. There we are. Those vacant properties are a little easier because I'm not as concerned about, the family living in the house, but I'm still going to monitor that one family goes through at a time for the safety of the people who are showing the home too, because we need to show the courtesy to everybody about, taking care of one another and making sure everybody's following the rules. So those are things that we can do, not shut it down and not give people the opportunity. A little more work
Absolutely.
on us. I don't show up to all of our houses when they're being shown. If it's standard times, I would trust the other professional realtor to do that. But in these times, that's what I've got to do. So it's just a matter of, being there for both your seller and for the buyers that are potentially going to buy the house. And I have to add to that, we've really encouraged our sellers to be patient. We sent out a very lengthy email this morning, just encouraging them. Your house will sell. We are still in a seller's market. In our market, we have 2 months worth of inventory. It's not enough. I mean, houses are still going multiple offers in our area right now if it was a standard market. With that being said, it's important to just remind our sellers that it may take an extra few weeks because of all of this. People might take a couple weeks to get to a point where they're not scared to come see the house, or just the transaction may take time because things are shut down. Everything is not going to be as expedient as it might have been. So that's another important piece.
So one of the things that Colleen's doing today, and we've been Premier Agents since Premier Agents program was created back in 2006. One of the things that she's doing today, and agents may not know, and they may be Premier Agents with Zillow, they might not know that this is available. And if it's not available in your market, you can reach out to Zillow. So she's going to be doing a 3D tour. And a 3D tour allows people to move the camera around and see inside the home. And if you're a Zillow Premier Agent, you definitely need to reach out to Zillow. There's an app for that. You can also do a video tour as well. There's an app for that as well. If you're not, there are companies like iSpy 360. iSpy 360 allows you to, you have to have a 3D camera, or you can use your iPhone or a smartphone with a rotator device.
With the right kind of tripod, which is really the most inexpensive way. It's like $60 or $50 to buy the tripod that'll do the rotation just with your smartphone.
Yep. And with that company will allow you to actually do, it will actually allow you to, am I back?
Yep.
Okay. It will actually allow you to not only see the 3D images, but you can do what we're doing right here with Zoom. And it has an embedded ability for you to actually chat with people. So you can actually do a full-on virtual tour with somebody on a property that you've already recorded, and they're in a location, you're in another location, you're not physically at the property, but tour the property with them, and that's iSpy 360. One of the things that we're advising the sellers to do is after any home showings occur, to just sanitize the door handles and using Clorox wipes and things like that, just to keep the germ count down. Reassuring the sellers that their home will actually sell. It will actually sell. We had one go under contract this morning as well. Remind for agents, kind of, Colleen, I want you to talk about this: under promise and over deliver. That was your idea. Let's go ahead and have you chat about that.
It's just been a general philosophy of our business over time. Obviously, we always let people know when we walk through their home. From the very beginning. We walk in and we tell them, we're going to get your home sold. Okay. So that's the promise. The promise is we're going to get your home sold, but we're very careful about saying, hey, we can talk about the fact that for us in a normal market, houses are usually sold in less than 30 days, sometimes sold in less than 2 weeks because of our marketing and our strategies and the things that we do. But we don't want to promise that. We want to promise we're going to get their home sold. And then we're going to give them the average days on market that we're seeing across our market. And that way, if they have an expectation that their home might not sell for 60 days, but it sells in 22, now we have over delivered. And so it's really important to set those expectations wisely right now, simply because as people are scared and frustrated, we don't want to tell them, hey, it's not going to be a problem. Hey, there won't be any issues. There are going to be issues. We're going to have to tackle those issues because daily the rules are kind of changing right now on what we can and can't do. But we can still promise we'll get your home sold, and just talk about that. And that was part of the email that we sent out this morning to the 3 listings that we just put on the market. The conversation we had with them 2 or 3 weeks ago as we were prepping their homes for market is a little bit different than the one that, one of these houses, we've been working with them for 2 months. And it was whether or not they even put it on the market 2 months ago, and they chose to wait and get some things done. And so the timing is a little unfortunate for them, but the bottom line is the conversation we originally had was the one promise is that we'll get your home sold. But we don't want to, we want to reset those expectations so that if we surpass them, them or the heroes instead of disappointing them. And so that's just a really important thing that you need to remember in business as a rule. And especially in these times, revisit your conversations and under promise, over deliver. You do more than you tell them you're going to do, and they're going to love you. And that's just a general philosophy we work by.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that we can point out that has been used for years now, I was one of the first early adopters of DocuSign when it first came out. In our area, there is a national certification called ePro. In our area, there was only 3 ePros that were in our area about 15 years ago. But now just about everybody uses digital signatures. So digital signatures for sellers and documents, but also mobile notaries. So every title company has a relationship with mobile notaries. They can go right to their home, and that notary can meet one-on-one, especially if they're elderly. They can meet one-on-one with the seller, get all the documents signed, and take it back to the title company so that person doesn't have to go into the title company. Or if the title company is closed, which is happening in some places right now, they can actually use a mobile notary and then find out and make sure you remind your title company, or ask the question of the title company about that gap insurance. Can you still close even though the county recorder's office is not open or not? So that's really, really important. So bottom line is there's lots of things that you can do with both buyers and sellers. This is an awesome opportunity to grow your business in today's environment, using social media, getting the word out there, adding value to your buyers, your sellers, and all your clients that you work with. Try to find ways to do that. Think and brainstorm today, and that happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's really like kind of a lot of the questions we kind of had was you guys have already answered. Really, it's about how you
just bailed right on through there. Sorry.
No, totally. No, this is great. It really, you've really touched on everything about how you're marketing and what you're going to do and how you're reaching out to your customers, your sphere, and planting seeds. And I think a lot of things that people forget is that whole planting seeds for the future. Yes. This is going to end, and you got to have something to, what's that 6 months down the road going to look like?
Yeah. So think like a farmer, but act like a hunter.
I like that. And then I guess just to kind of close things up a little bit, what are your, and you've talked a little bit about this, but, just predictions for the housing market being, we've talked about the inventory being low.
I'm kind of losing you here.
I can jump in on that one. Predictions for the housing market as far as we see them. Obviously, there's going to be a lull right now. We're seeing every day new announcements about different legislation or opportunities that are going to come out to help any homeowners in this crisis time. So, that'll be yet to be seen. But as far as what's happening, as far as homes, equity is up and equity is not going to go anywhere. Like Bryan was saying earlier, the housing, people are still a little hard, both emotionally from and, intellectually from the fact that the housing crisis that we went through in 08, 09 was caused by a bad housing market and bad loans and all those different things that we now see. But, the prediction there's been a prediction of a potential recession in 2021. So this coronavirus has brought it to the forefront. So it's happening sooner. But the bottom line is this time around, the housing market isn't going to really be affected because the equity is there in properties. The value is there in properties. People have that value and they are going to be, retaining that value in their homes. It's not going to disappear. That's what makes it a seller's market, right? The other part of it is you have to understand that the millennial generation, we happen to have one of those in our own world. Our son is 27, so he's at the very youngest end of that millennial generation. They are becoming successful in their career fields, and they have been renting. They have been mobile, and as they settle in their early 30s and start to have their families, they want to buy homes. And even with this blip that we're going to have here for a few months with all the changes with the virus, a lot of them have a ton of money saved and they are ready to buy homes, and they are a large population. So they're going to start jumping into the housing market and continue to, and it's going to continue to bring lots of buyers to the forefront. And the other is what we call, Bryan and I do, we're not alone in this, we call them the Boomerang Buyer. And that is those folks who suffered from a housing loss, a short sale or a foreclosure in 08, 09, 10, even 11. And those folks have been sitting on the sidelines because they could not qualify for the loan that they wanted. And yet a lot of them still had income or have had good income for quite a bit of time now. And so they are re-entering the market. So we have a large population of people who are done with the renting and want to be homeowners again. That brings all these buyers with really low interest rates. Those aren't going anywhere. And I'm not going to speak to it like an expert. I just listen to experts. And those, from everything I understand, those interest rates are not going to go up. So you've got a lot of people needing to buy homes. You've got really low interest rates, and they'll continue. I mean, the fluctuation this last week was just because they went up a little bit because the lenders couldn't write up loans fast enough. And so, but they're going to stay at this historic low. And so all of that is going to drive a very busy housing market. And there's still going to be people that are going to be like, oh, I can sell my home. We also have, and I'm sorry, I'm probably stealing all of Bryan's thunder. And that is
go ahead. You're doing great. Yeah.
We have an upcoming what they call silver tsunami. Okay, and that's the other piece of it. We have that whole baby boomer generation that is ready to downsize, that is ready to not be maintaining a full home anymore because it's too much work based on their age. And all of that generation is going to be selling those homes. So is there going to be a lot of real estate transactions happening in the next 2 to 5 years?
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, and another group of buyers that we kind of touched on, but I want to bring to the forefront is the equity buyers, right? So anybody that bought in 9, 10, 11, 12 in that range, they have massive amounts of equity, and they've been sitting in their property, and so they're going to be coming into the market along with the boomerang buyers, along with the millennial buyers. So there's those three groups of people, and then the other events like that. So where do we see real estate? I think that agents right now, in the next 5 years are going to probably have the best years of real estate ever. And the agents that are proactive right now, just like the people that were in 08, 09, they started blogging, the agents that use video, that interact, that add value to their client database, that add value to their sellers and buyers right now, this opportunity is going to just propel them so far ahead of anyone else, and they're going to be in an advantageous position over the next 5 years. Absolutely.
Joe, you got anything?
Wow, I'm pleasantly overwhelmed.
I love that phrase. Thank you.
It's kind of an idiom there, but yeah, you guys covered everything really well. And I think it speaks to your success and to the stability that you have. I see it tying back to what you're doing, but also how you're doing it, right? You're presenting yourself as a resource. How can I serve? How can I help? How can I be proactive versus reactive? The majority of the real estate agents, if we look at as a whole, are reactive. I need something now. What am I going to do when this happens? They're not really thinking proactively, but I see the agents that act proactively. There's so many opportunities out there, and I love what you said.
Oh, absolutely.
That 2 to 5 years are going to be the best years in real estate for those who are proactive.
Yep. You're quoting Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That is one of my foundation books. And when you begin with the end in mind and be proactive rather than reactive, and seek first to understand, then be understood, all of those habits are so valuable. And go back to looking at principles. Those principles of business have not changed. It's a people business. We're helping people with the largest transaction of their life, whether they're buying or selling. And we truly are their first financial advisor. We're the people that actually help families create wealth. And there's going to be a lot of wealth creation that's going to happen here in the next 2 to 5 years. And we're pretty excited about this, actually, for this opportunity, because we're living in unprecedented times of communication, technology, and opportunity. And we're very, very blessed to have this interview with you guys. Think about this for a second. We got Florida, Oregon, California, all talking together. That's the whole United States, basically, the whole coverage of the United States in a simple technology like this, where we're able to share some ideas and hopefully some agents learn something along the way here.
I think you pretty much wrapped it up right there. That was fantastic.
Hey, we're for hire. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, like I said last night talking to you, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this with us. I think, we're getting a lot of messages, and, our goal with Smart Agents is to spread these, these tips and just kind of calm people down a little
Brilliant.
bit.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
And, it kind of goes back to one of my final things is, there's always that rule, we've raised 3 kids and we work with a lot of different people, and you always
been married 30 years, by the way.
Yeah. I've been putting up with him for a long time, but the bottom is you're like the people you surround yourself with. And so if you want to have people be calm around you, then present calmness, present peacefulness, present positiveness. And then as you gather those clients and your workforce around you, you're going to have people that reflect that. And if you choose to go crazy and sideways on this, then you're going to discover your clients are going to be going sideways and your whole situation is. So, surround yourself start with yourself and find the positive and joy and encouragement in all things, and then go from there, because it will reflect in your business.
Yep. Always look at ways to improve. And I think Smart Agents is a great way to do that, because you have resources available. Surround yourself with people that are producing more than you are. That's why we did as well. And you continue to do that, because there's always another level that you can reach, and iron sharpens iron.